The second area that I think we need to talk about is the leadership challenges with dealing with innovation. And the reason being is that if you look at innovation as something that you just go out and do, then the fundamental competitive side of why innovation is important is somewhat lost. It's almost as if our competitors have to do it, so therefore we have to do it. So what I'm going to do in this little segment is to show you how, or explain to you how, innovation is important for you to be able to create sustainable long-term viability for your organization. Let's just picture this. If you have an idea or a space in the world of what you offer that other people see an interest in, you're going to eventually find others who will start up businesses in that space or try to occupy that space with other products or services, other tools that would be able to do a similar service. So whether it be internal, and we're talking about operationally being able to manufacture, build, store, scan, design, or we're talking external with products that are sold to the marketplace, doesn't make a difference. The same type of technology is happening because, think about it this way, when you sell a product to the outside world, you're selling a product to the outside world. Great. There's a curve that goes with it. But there's companies who are selling products to inside of your organization, and they're developing and improving on the product scenario. So there's multiple S-curves, if we want to say, happening all the time. So let's take that time and we take that performance, that chart that we had used last time, and we look at the S-curve, and you picture yourself being on that S-curve, having products and services you offer anywhere within the organization. And at some point, you step back and you visualize that somebody else is probably working on it. Now, if you look at the curve, and I'm doing it again the opposite for you to see, you have one curve that you're following, but we go shift down the timeline, there's another curve that's happening by somebody else. They are starting out in the same position you are in, trying to develop something new and innovative, trying to offer some value added that a customer is going to be interested in using, or one of your members or a constituent is going to want to use. And in that innovation, what happens is you've got a little bit of an overlap. What's happening in the curve, and try to understand this concept, it was a little tough for me in the beginning to really grasp it. It works off of Clayton Christensen's The Innovative Dilemma, is you end up having a point in which you theoretically know that the market is changing and you have the opportunity to invest in a new technology to eliminate what you've been doing before, or to invest in your own technology, to invest in what you've been doing, drive down cost, increase efficiency, get the market and get your customers happy. The challenge becomes, as that other company moves, or organization or individual moves along on their idea, you lose less and less the capability of jumping to the new idea. It's as if their ability to perform has started, their performance level has improved to a point where if you tried to jump the curve, if you tried to get to them, it's going to be too far away. The analogy that comes to me right now is you're running in a race with two people. And as you're running, you're moving really fast and the person's next to you, and you feel you can catch them. That's the time where you can pump it up and you feel you can make it. However, if in fact that individual gets too far ahead of you, you just look at them and you look at the timeline, you look at where you've got to go and you say, no way I can beat them. No way, it's just, I don't have enough energy to get to that point. Well, that's the same thing that's happening in the innovation curve. So you run into a challenge right about mid-tier when you have this innovation curve that you see happening. One, do you decide to invest in what you're doing, continue what you're doing, and make that cash cow and continue to ride it as long as you can, knowing that at one point something else will supersede it? And that's okay. Sometimes that's enough for you to say, hey, I'll retire, I'm done, the business will be over, I've had it. I've enjoyed my stint on this, let's move on. You can develop a Me Too product. A Me Too product that looks like everybody else's. And there are some viable options for being a Me Too product. You can create a Me Too product but have a better innovative approach to delivering to a marketplace and actually supersede and make a lot of money. Statistically, however, a Me Too product does not deliver the profitability performance of a unique product and service. So for example, we've got cameras in front of us. Videography is a big space to be in. And even the cameras on your phone. If someone delivers a product that's existing, like we've got two Sonys here, if they have the exact same product and they put it out there, we know that another company, Sony's working on its next iteration. So you're going to not end up making the same profitability. You'll do okay, but you're going to compete on price compression and margin compression, which make it more difficult. The last place that you can focus in on that you might be able to do well on is you can invest in the R&D. And you can make investments in different approaches, and I'll go over them with you, that will allow you, in the next video, I will allow you to compete in that space. The challenge is, do you do it, and how do you do it? Let me give you a short little example. When we started writing Paid to Think, I was thinking about the wines that I have studied over the years. When I was younger, when I was in uni and college, I had studied wines. I was tasting up to 300 to 600 bottles a year. I went to Napa Valley, I traveled, I had a great time. And I read an article about wine stoppers, cork stoppers, because I was really concerned about this plastic cork that people were using. It just didn't seem right to me. A plastic cork, you really liked the cork. And I found out that the entire industry was declining. The cork manufacturing industry was declining. These rubber stoppers were more viable in stopping what's called cork taint. It is a damaging or ruining the taste of wines. And what happened was this plastic manufacturing company that was creating these corks was taking on the market very quickly. Actually, a guy by the name, I believe it was Robert Parker, predicted in 2010 that by 2015 we would have almost no more corks. I mean, this was the end of the cork industry. Maybe they read the same article they heard, but they weren't going to take it sitting down. The cork industry updated their technology of how they build corks, generated corks, and they created a better quality cork. Now they had an advantage, something called cork snobbery. People believe that a cork that's made of cork is better than a twist or rubber stopper. So therefore, the consumer was already interested in it. And if they added a viable product again, you immediately saw down to 7%, and the cork, the plastic cork, has tended to move by the wayside. The industry transformed. They were able to jump the curve at the right point where there was enough traction in the space and a product that they can offer and an interest in it that they were able to capture the market once again. Again, it's very difficult in this space to use certain examples that would be ubiquitous, would be well understood by everybody, that this is not just on product offering. I'm giving you an example. This can be used in every type of area within your organization. And if you're working internally, you offer products and services internal to your organization, and there is competition. There is competition, and it could be in the form of technology, meaning someone replaces what you do with automation. You know, we have 25 people doing this service, and we can automate it. Or your department doesn't innovate, whatever you're doing, and the management decides, we're going to outsource. And don't take that word outsource as a negative. We outsource all the time. Every company, every organization outsources. We outsource our electricity, our water, our land, our streets. All those things are outsourced. So they decide that it's better viable because someone has a better solution than you do. So you are in competition with how they run their organization. So they outsource that service to somebody else. And that happens all the time. So with that said, number 2, I want you to be thinking about the jumping the curve or being innovative in a different light. So let's move on to the third.